This is a presentation in two parts, essentially. Those of you who were at the AGM yesterday, I apologise for repeating some of what I said. So I'm going to give you a very quick trail through, really 2016 at a glance, as it says. We're more than halfway through the year, well through halfway through the year. So what's been going on in the first 7 or 8 months of the year? Then I want to do a little bit of crystal ball gazing. And by crystal ball gazing, I mean, what does it hold between now and 2041? And my crystal ball is no clearer than yours. So this is just a wish list of things that potentially we could find ourselves doing over the next 25 years. Zaria, nice to see you. And Alan Brink, thank you. I know you came in. You missed me thanking you both for your sponsorship. So I just wanted to reiterate, thank you very much. We appreciate your sponsorship. So, some of the highlights. We are financially sound. I raised this yesterday. Business is strong. In fact, business has been very good this year. We've exceeded the budget that we set. I always err on the side of caution when I set a budget. As the board have found out now, I'd rather deliver something that is achievable and then overachieve. So much better that way than setting out to do something and failing. So we are financially sound. The membership has increased strongly, and I see no reason why that will change. We've made some important changes to the education programme. I'll touch on those shortly. There's been a lot of work involved behind the scenes with our certifying authority and the MCA, more training opportunities and new technology that we're embracing. A little bit on the Handy Guide series, which some of you will have seen. The Marine Surveying Academy, which is run by Hilary Excel. Hilary, just say hello. Hilary is the business manager looking after our growing MSA division. And all of this set against some tough industry issues in some areas. You know, life is not easy for some of our members. I've been saying this for the last 2 years. We're nudging 1,000. We are getting ever closer to the 1,000 members. That's a bit of a landmark. And we're also very close to 100 countries. I think if we go past 1,000 members or 100 countries, I think that would be astonishing. We're not far away. Strong levels of new applications. I could say they're coming from one country or another, but to be honest, they're coming from all over the world. I mean, we've had strong surge from Nigeria, a lot of new members coming from Nigeria. We've had some Americans increasingly coming through, we've had some Canadians, a lot from the Far East. It really is a worldwide picture, and I think that's testament to the fact that we are a truly international organisation. As Chris Kelly reported yesterday at the AGM, we are at our highest ever level of full members. Fascinating, this returning members. There are members or people in the organisation, Captain Peter King, who come back into membership this year. It's fantastic. Captain Bill, who dropped out of the organisation, he's come back in. And there have been, more than 10 who've actually come back into membership this year, I think largely on the back of the 25th anniversary and the work we've been doing. So it's very exciting. Also, fantastic to be able to welcome new members from areas who perhaps have not had members before. The work that Hillary's been doing in the coatings inspectors course, we now have some coatings inspectors members we didn't have those skill sets within our membership. Also through the work we're doing with CMID, Common Marine Inspection Document on behalf of IMCA, a number of those people who've come through that accreditation process are also joining the Institute. So we are broadening our membership base, and I think that's very exciting. I touched yesterday on the fact that IIMS Association of Marine Surveyors British Columbia was amalgamated into form IIMS Canada, and IIMS Nigeria was born. So we're grateful to, you're the only representative today from Nigeria. You're most welcome, it's great to see you. We touched briefly on our membership communications. The Report magazine, something I'm quite proud of. We put a lot of time and effort into it. This, the most recent issue, which we published in June, so much of the content now is being commissioned with you very much in mind. So this article here on autonomous ships written by Rolls-Royce, if you've not read it, it just is fascinating. Have a read. It's really, really interesting as to where the industry is moving. We push out our monthly news bulletins. 50% of you open it, 50% don't. I do know which 50% don't open it, so I might be on your case. Twitter, we have nearly 1,000 followers now. Last month's tweets, this is interesting, isn't it? 25,000 impressions. What does that mean? Does that mean we're going to get 25,000 new members? Of course it doesn't. What it means is 25,000 people interacted with the IIMS last month alone. Extraordinary, amazing figures. LinkedIn has grown exponentially. We now have 500 plus followers. Every morning when I open up LinkedIn, there's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members, or not members actually, just people from the maritime world wanting to join our LinkedIn discussion group. It's growing very nicely. Touched on videos, 60 videos now that we've made in the last couple of years after this conference and the Indian conference, which Milind, I must say, is on the 5th of October in Mumbai. Milind would love to see you in Mumbai. Don't be shy. And we'll have probably 80 videos up online by then. So, you know, it's a really amazing source of information for you. Something that we've done increasingly this year, which I know one or two of you have commented on, is releasing regulatory changes, accident reports, and safety information using our social media channels. When we get an MAIB report out now, we're all over that like a rash, and that'll be out to you, those of you who choose to take it through the various social media channels. Briefly on our IIMS websites, the traffic since we launched the current new site has more than doubled in 18 months. For an organisation that has just 1,000 members, we get 13,000 unique visitors a month on that website. 30% are returning visitors, 70% are new visitors a month. I can't promise they're all marine surveyors. In a way, that doesn't matter. Again, we're just reaching out to the broader, wider world. We have prepared a new certifying authority site. It's in beta mode at the moment. That's it's good to go, actually. We just need to sit down and get that sorted and move that along. We've launched uniform branch websites. That was a commitment I made last year. We haven't quite got them all going, but they're mostly there, and those that aren't up and running will be in the next few weeks. Did you know we operate 12 websites? That's extraordinary, really. We had one 2 years ago. We now have 12 websites. We also have websites for the Marine Surveying Academy. We have one for the Registered Marine Coatings Inspectors. We have one for the CMID accreditation program. We have the branch websites. So we're very, very active now online. So I would say to you that IIMS.org.uk is your prime source for surveyor information, relevant news and resources. 650 plus news stories, articles, features. It's an extraordinary mine of information. Please do use it. Professional qualifications. We touched on this at length yesterday, so I'm going to not gloss over this because it's a very important part of what we do. But we've developed 2 pathways. We've opened up one specifically for commercial ship surveyors and one for small craft surveyors. These were launched in January 2016, earlier this year. Same great content, really in-depth, recognised by many people as being fantastic quality content. We are reshaping some of the units. We rewrote Unit 1 when we split them, so that there is now an introduction aimed specifically at small craft and one aimed specifically at commercial ship, obviously. We're just currently reworking the report writing for small craft Unit 4, which is an important piece of work. There have been very strong quarterly intakes on or above budget. And I think the thing I wanted to mention, which I did touch on yesterday, so apologies for repeating myself if you were there yesterday. We've invested some money. I give a small budget each month to a company called Vertical Leap in Portsmouth. They are a digital below-the-line marketing agency, and what they are able to do is to target people who are in the marine industry in the broadest sense, using Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the various mediums. And we get now anything up to half a dozen applications per day for people interested in joining the course. So it's really fantastic. And of course, they've done some of the channeling or actually cutting out the wheat from the chaff before they even hit us. So we know that people who are coming through and inquiring are at least involved in the marine sector. Briefly on the CA and the MCA work that I alluded to earlier. So I took on the role of chairman of the Certifying Authority Professional Standards Working Group back in February. There are 3 aims. One is a common interpretation, or establishing a common interpretation of MGN 280, the Bible. That work is being undertaken by Fraser Noble and Mark Towell. Mark, ex of MCA, now working for Lloyd's Register. We are trying desperately to develop a minimum standard for coding surveyors, and I think that could well lead to formal accreditation. That's not going to happen next year, but possibly within 3 years' time. I don't think that's unrealistic. And we are talking about the formation of an association of certifying authorities. I don't for 1 minute think that's going to be an easy piece of work. We sit around the table and there are people definitely with their own agendas, but I think there is a common understanding that the time is right for an initiative such as this to succeed. So I look forward to updating on that as we move along. Training opportunities. Well, we've done all sorts this year. We were in Watford when Storm Bertha, or whatever she was called, I can't remember, came along. and absolutely blew us off our feet. Here are some of the guys. We had an ultrasonics training day. We had 25 people there. Great day. That was fantastic. We then moved on to Palma in April. Here's Paul Lockhart, and I've forgotten the other chap's name, actually, Damien. Thank you, Damien. Underneath the boat, we did lots of practical work out there. We had another 25 people there. John Excel conducted some tonnage training out there, which was hands-on. We got on board 3 or 4 small vessels and did some tonnage measurements. We then took the guys, 30 of them, down to meet the RNLI surveyors. We gate crashed their conference down in Poole. Fantastic. Just an amazing facility they have down at the RNLI. You could eat your food off the floor in a boatyard. It's that clean. Absolutely extraordinary place. Very interesting day. We're currently working on our small craft super training day, which is going to be held on the 24th of October, and that's going to be held in the Portsmouth Historic Dockyard, which again is a very iconic venue. We're heading up in November to Scotland for our small craft working group in Scotland. And we're working on a super yacht working group. That's going to be coming fairly soon. And obviously touches on the fact that the super yacht industry is really quite buoyant and burgeoning, so we want to be part of that. We're moving into video conferencing or training by video conferencing. We have our first seminar on September the 12th, which is report writing, which is going to be run by John Killams and Paul Homert remotely, using the Zoom platform, which many of you will have heard about yesterday. It's a fantastic system. We have, I think, 20 people signed up for that course already. There's a notification going out tomorrow. I suspect another 10 might come. We could end up with 30 on that course. I think it's a really exciting module, and we'll see how that develops and goes. 3 CPD points if you come online and take the training seminar. And on the subject of CPD, it's something that we need to push even harder at head office. There are 1 or 2 members who are a bit slow in getting their CPD in on time. I am looking at ways of trying to make that easier for members to get their CPD points online using some kind of online system where you can log in and just register your points. But that's, again, work in progress. Quickly on handy guides, what a marine surveyor needs to know about. If you haven't seen them, in fact, I stood up and addressed you last year, and we had the first couple out at conference last year. Here's a couple of them. We now have 10 guides published, and they are available. We've got 4 on Kindle. All of them will go onto Kindle. It's just been a time thing, really, getting them together. So they'll all go onto Kindle. We have made some sales on Kindle. There's a further 12 manuscripts now waiting to be published, and that's simply down to Craig's time in the office. You know, he only has a limited, finite amount of time, but we'll get those out to market. I suspect we'll have another 6 out by Christmas. And I just want to say it's a long-term project. Sales are steady. We've sold several hundred copies already, and I haven't really pushed a marketing campaign out on this. If you want to see the books, the 10 of them are all out there. The girls have got them all displayed out. If you want to have a look, then please do. PR opportunities. I think this year our special anniversary has given all sorts of opportunities. I've given 4 key media interviews to various mediums. We also developed a database of 1,700 non-surveyor contacts. So all sorts of people, P&I clubs, insurers, shipbuilders, brokers, boatyards, charterers, flag states, all sorts of interesting people who are not surveyors, but who definitely touch marine surveying. And I bashed out 4 emails to them over the year. I don't want to bombard them with information, but open rate's been extraordinarily high. We've had 40% open rate. So again, this is all about pushing the credentials of the IIMS out to the wider maritime industry. And breaking news, this is really hot off the press. IIMS is to be appointed as the technical advisors to the Golden Globe yacht race in 2018. What's that all about? You probably know Robin Knox-Johnston. 50 years ago in 2018, he was the only finisher in the original Golden Globe, which is a round the world single-hand yacht race. He was the only guy to finish on a boat called Suhaili, which was built out in India somewhere, I believe. Yes, built out in India. Funny enough, Suhaili is being refitted directly opposite our office right now. It's in dock at the moment and being sorted out. And IIMS has been invited to provide the technical specification for the 30 race entrants. In other words, they will need to meet this specification or they won't be allowed to race. And I think it's very exciting. Can't say much more yet, but it's all happening as we speak. Watch this space. A little bit on the Marine Surveying Academy. Hilary, I apologise, there's only 2 slides. I could have put 20 slides in, but time's against me. The Registered Marine Coatings Inspectors course, this is aimed primarily at those who are involved in super yacht coatings inspections. It's been an interesting program. We have now put about 70 people through that. There are 70 qualified inspectors out there. We work with IIMS and Cybas. I can't pretend they are easy partners. They're not commercial partners. We take the commercial risk. But they are, if you like, stakeholders in the business, and they are quite specific in their needs. We have a tutor succession plan. Peter Morgan kicked this all off a couple of years ago. That's now been taken on by Rory Marshall as lead tutor, who is a member of the Institute and heavily immersed in the super yacht coatings business. Our next plan, or our next course, is being held in Via Reggio in October. And Hilary, I think you've got a dozen already signed up for that. So that's going to be a lively course, which is good. And we are looking at our first conference of qualified RMCIs, under discussion at the moment, probably going to be in Amsterdam, possibly in January or February next year. Bring them all together. A little bit on the IMCA CMID accreditation program, which we launched just over a year ago in the middle of last year. We now have 200 plus accredited vessel inspectors assessed versus strict competency criteria. Somebody said to me, is 200 good? I said, don't know really. The trouble is we don't know how many of these guys that are out there. What we do know is that the offshore industry is in turmoil at the moment, and the throughput at the moment is not quite as high as we would have liked, but I think, Hilary, we are delighted to have got 200 people through. This has thrown up some extraordinary opportunities for us. We are suddenly finding ourselves moving into a whole new area. We're talking to people with skills that we didn't know existed, to be honest. And I think, I'll speak for you, Hilary, I know, but I think both of us have learned a huge amount by engaging with these people. It's very, very exciting stuff. There is a 7% rejection rate. Is that 7% or 5%? About 7%. About 7% rejection rate. So not everybody who applies gets accredited. And it's proof that the system does work, because if you cannot objectively prove to us you know what a jack-up vessel is, we're not going to allow you to go and audit a jack-up vessel. It's as simple as that. And we've upset some people with that stance. I can't pretend we haven't. There are some awkward customers out there who say, well, I've been doing it 20 years, and say, well, give us the proof. Give us the proof. And unfortunately, that proof isn't forthcoming. And, but we have to be, we're only as good as the solidity of the scheme that we're running. There are some fascinating program changes coming. On 1st of January 2018, IMCA have said, if you are not accredited, basically we don't recognise you as a CMID auditor. So almost certainly that is going to drive a lot of people into the scheme over the next 18 months, I suppose. And we are planning our first CMID conference. Well, again, probably early 2017 at a venue to be decided. Right, let's forget the past and the present. Let's talk about the future. This is just a handful of slides, 5 minutes worth of slides. My wish list, perhaps. So I'm just going to share these with you. Some of it you might think is a bit fanciful and a bit nonsensical, but let's see where we go. But first, cast your mind back 25 years. Who remembers 25 years ago? Internet in its infancy, and it really was. You didn't have any fancy surveyor gadgets, did you? Because the digital world didn't exist then. We ran around with mobile bricks. Do you remember these are half the size of a house, and you had to click it to your ear? That was your mobile phone. Look how that has changed. Distance learning was done by post. I think it was called correspondence courses from memory. Now, of course, it's all online, and it works very, very well. No digital platforms. We did have basic email, but very, very basic. No social media. So, with all of that, just think, where could we be in 25 years' time if that rate of change continues? IIMS aspires to be a world-class and internationally respected body of highly competent, multi-skilled surveyors from different disciplines who make a significant difference to vessel management and safety. How are we going to achieve that? First, my prediction. I talked about nudging the 1,000 mark. I really do think we might just go through the 1,000 mark next year. At our current run rate, I think we may well pass 1,000. IIMS must continually seek and make available ways to help surveyors drive up their standards and competency levels. I'm not going to play the standards card heavily today. Some of you heard me talk passionately about standards. It's really, really important going forward that we keep driving up standards. So this means we have to provide training in various forms for easy delivery around the world while cascading and sharing knowledge and best practice to our members. Going forward, IIMS must find ever-inventive ways and means to fully engage with its members, especially those more distant ones like Barry Thompson in New Zealand. Barry, we've spoken at length about how we can try and engage with members who are 12,000 miles away, and we will do that. We will implement internal processes and procedural changes. In fact, these are going to come this year, well not this year, but next year or the year after. We won't be waiting 25 years. But they will streamline the business for the benefit of its members and the head office staff alike. I think you'll see a lot of stuff coming forward over the next year to 18 months. We must become passionate, and I mean passionate about, and successful in developing the next generation of marine surveyors by whatever means and creating a career path for them. They are our future members. We must routinely engage with anyone whose business touches the work of a marine surveyor, but who's not a surveyor themselves. I've touched on that already. I think the next 4 to 5 years, I think there's an awful lot of work we can do in that area. You know, we're not as proactive with the P&I clubs, for example, as we could or should be. These are areas we need to work at. We have to innovate by embracing all available technologies to ensure we remain a modern, forward-thinking and progressive body as rapid change occurs. I want to be at the top of the curve, leading the way, not at the bottom of the curve following what others are doing. I think that's really important. And I think we do need to forge strategic alliances with other suitable marine organisations. It's great, Philip, that you're here from the Nautical Institute. We have a close relationship with the Nautical Institute. Those are the sort of organisations we should be working with. And I know Bertrand's passionate that we get involved with IMO. We do need to do something with IMO, and we need to get ourselves a seat on the table there. And these are things that we'll be working to do. This is close to me. This is the Malvern Hills. Isn't it lovely? It's beautiful. So what might lie on the other side of that hill by 2041? I can see a time when IIMS has badged international surveying training schools. Is that so daft? Why can't we have one in China, one in Singapore, one in America, one in Canada? I don't think that's pie in the sky at all. I think we will have a fully fledged global apprenticeship scheme. What that looks like, I don't yet know. Captain Peter King will tell us later. He'll share some information on that. But most importantly, we have to develop a mapped out career path over the next 25 years so that someone coming out of school or college can find a way into this industry. Because the way many of you came into this industry, 20 years at sea, coming ashore, got your knowledge in those 20 years, is not the way that it seems to work these days. So we have to find a way to do that. We talk endlessly internally about a global mentoring scheme. We need to develop a fully funded mentoring scheme that helps these younger surveyors and indeed more experienced surveyors who still want to learn new skills by mentoring them. I'm sure we're going to move to a formal accredited scheme. I don't think that's going to come in again in the next 1 or 2 years, but I think in the midterm, I'm sure we'll move to a programme of accrediting our members. I'd like to think we'll have 2,000 members. That would be double what we have now. Who knows? And of course, your daily news will be delivered by a disposable tablet via your own personal IIMS drone, because we know where that's all going, don't we? Thank you very much for attention. You've been a great audience. Thank you.